So the assignment for this week is in kind of two parts. The first thing you're going to do is refine the poster that you designed. So the selected one that in the crit that we had as a group, um, whichever one was like the most appealing for you to continue with. You want to first refine that and really focus in on the typography, refining everything, like really thinking about how big things are on the page, the relationship between the large things and the small things, the kind of primary information and secondary information. And as you're working, look back at other posters that can help you figure out, oh, actually, like, oh, this can be smaller and this can be tucked away. So try and really refine the typography and refine your system before going on. But also, some of you, it might be helpful to think about, oh, how would I apply this in other kind of parts of my system? If, a tiny thing or a ticket or a flyer, etc., so that maybe that helps you decide which direction to go in. So, really spend some time refining this, try and make it really your final because you're going to now expand the system. But I wanted to give you guys the time to actually do more work on your poster before continuing on. And the second thing you're going to do is create a digital gallery. So if we're imagining that, this is either a show or a like exhibition, but that is all done in a PDF format. So it could be, in real exhibitions, there's sometimes books that actually track everything that was in the exhibition. So this, we're just doing that, except without the actual exhibition. And we'll do it as like a kind of more web style, so kind of a scrollable gallery rather than a printed thing, just because that's the reality that we're in. And I'll just show again real quick how you would go about doing that. So I gave you here kind of what should be in your poster. Remember that, you should have a little short description, etc. In here, you should have the name of the event or short text that's 2 or 3 paragraphs about your event. So you could find something online that kind of is part of the reason that inspired you to do this, or you could write something or modify text. And then 10 to 15 images with captions, descriptions. So whatever you think, you can I'll let you decide what you want to include and how you want to include it. So just in terms of your format for that, I'm going to make this smaller. In InDesign, just make a new document, and I would start with a web format just for this. And these are all too small, so they're all letter. So I would use 1024 by 768 or another one, whichever one, kind of depending on the size of your computer. You can change the size of the screen. If you have a larger screen, you can go larger. I'll just go with this for now. And then here, basically, you can decide whether you want to scroll to the right or scroll to the left. So it could be a long scroll in either direction. So here I have 1024 pixel. Let's say I'm going to start with, I don't know, 5000 pixels height. Sorry, I have other things open. So, this is fairly long, but you can still treat it kind of the same way you did before. And then you could change that to horizontal or make a separate document that's horizontal. And you can keep changing the length of this. But what I really want to push, it's not just like putting images at random. Be designing this space and be like thinking about how, this could be a timeline, this could be a portfolio, this could be a lot of things. So try and kind of really try your hand at using a grid. So you could alter the margins here, but really I think the most important will be creating a grid. So if you do create guides, sorry, here they are, you can still within this really large format create a bunch of rows and a bunch of columns, and that can be something that you're working with, so you have a system. And then think about whatever it is that your design is. Some of you it's pixel oriented, some of you there's nature, some of you there's like a direction that the type goes in or something. how does that bring in here? So you're going to bring in kind of the title of your show, an intro paragraph, as we said. And then when you're bringing in the images, you could just make different rectangles on the different sides, or the rectangle frame tool or the rectangle tool, and play around with like, okay, what do I want to take up? Like, do I want it to be like, how do I organize this space? And maybe I realize actually my grid should have more increments in it, or different things like that. So try and think about that, and think about, is there any logic to it that could make sense for your topic? But mostly I want you to really be focused on organizing this space in a thoughtful way, and really also thinking about the typography of this simple thing. So if I have a description about here, there could be, the title of the piece and a description, or short description, 1 to 2 sentences, and it could be personal or whatever you choose, but really refine this typography. Don't just put something here. Like, really think about, okay, in the type, I'm going to use a typeface that's really meant for reading. So it'll be a serif or a sans serif, but like focus on, refining it as much as you can. Use the list I gave you of type, because those are kind of reliable. And then, you can also create, as we did earlier today, you can set paragraph styles and, etc. for this. But it should also make, it should definitely be a part of your system. So I'm just going to fill this in with filler text for now, so that I have something to work with. So, you can have a little bit of type. And then if I hit Command D or Control D, I can fill these in. These were just kind of, here, we'll use some of these images from today. And you can, once you've put them in, you might realize, actually, I need more space for this. So I'll make it bigger. So really pay attention to all that stuff, and where your type aligns with the image. It should be mindful, if your type goes if your image goes here, maybe the type goes here to the corner, or you have a system that makes sense, or it's always an increment in, how much space between the image and the type, etc. These are all things you want to be thinking about. And this is typography, so spend time with that. And and I want you think about the size. Some images can be small. How do you vary so that there's a different experience as you're reading? So I picked the same image, and then there could be moments where you kind of go off the grid. You can have long images. You can have images that really take up all the width of the page. So I'm just giving you super basic kind of ways of functioning, but make it as refined as you can. Like, spend time with it. Okay, so that's that for the assignment. And obviously this is a totally random topic, but you'll have to find the images for yours, and it has to be really a full expression of your identity in the exhibition form.